All right, if you're gearing up for that NMLS exam, you know BSA and AML are going to be on there. So in this explainer, we are going to break down exactly what you need to know to nail those questions and ace your test. Let's dive right in. So let's start with the big question, right? How do criminals take dirty money and make it look clean? Because as a future MLO, you're going to be on the front lines. The entire system we're about to talk about, it's all designed to help you spot this stuff and stop it cold. And there it is, the official definition of money laundering. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a giant washing machine for dirty cash. Criminals shove their illegal money in, run it through this crazy cycle of confusing transactions, and presto, it comes out looking totally legit. Our job? It's to be the wrench in that machine. Okay, so here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to look at the threat, why this is such a big deal. Then we'll get into our main defense, the BSA AML framework itself. After that, we'll get practical with the 2 key reports you have to know. Then, and this is a big one, we'll hit the numbers, your exam cheat sheet. And finally, we'll wrap it all up by talking about what this means for you. All right, so we've got the threat down. We know what money laundering is. The next question is, how do we fight back? How does the whole U.S. financial system protect itself? Well, the answer is the Bank Secrecy Act and all its anti-money laundering rules. So what is the BSA/AML, really? At its heart, it's all about one thing, transparency. It's basically a set of laws designed to create a super clear paper trail for money. The whole point is to make it incredibly hard for criminals to hide in the shadows. And here's the kicker for your exam. This isn't some optional guideline. Nope. Every single financial institution is legally required to have a solid compliance program. Okay, this is a big one for the test. You've got to know the 2 main players here. The U.S. Congress, they're the ones who wrote the law way back in 1970. But who's the enforcer? That's FinCEN, the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. You can think of them as the financial cops, and they get their tips from the very reports we're about to dive into. So how do these financial cops get their information? I mean, they're not just out there guessing, right? They rely on intel that comes from people just like you, financial professionals on the ground. And that brings us to the 2 most important tools in the entire BSA-ML toolkit. You absolutely positively have to know these 2 reports for your exam. All right, listen up, because this is probably the most important distinction you need to get. We have the CTR and the SAR. A CTR, a currency transaction report, is all about the amount of cash. It's objective. A big transaction happens, a report gets filed. Simple. A SAR, on the other hand, a suspicious activity report, that's all about the nature of the deal. It's subjective. It's about your gut feeling when something just seems off, you know? Just remember that. CTR is for the amount, SARs is for suspicion. Okay, let's get into the details of the CTR. The magic number here, the one you need to burn into your brain, is $10,000. If any customer comes in and deposits, withdraws, or exchanges more than $10,000 in cash in a single day, boom, a CTR gets filed. Now, it's really important to get this. It's not an accusation. It doesn't mean they're a criminal. It's just a flag, a heads up to the government that a large amount of cash is moving around. All right, now let's talk about the SAR. This is where you and your professional judgment really come into play. The threshold here is $5,000. So if any transaction of $5,000 or more just feels wrong, maybe someone is trying to be sneaky, making a bunch of smaller cash deposits to stay under that $10,000 CTR limit, that's called structuring, by the way, then a SAR has to be filed. And another key point, this isn't just about customers. It applies to sketchy activity from employees, too. You know, the power and importance of the SAR really got supercharged after the 9/11 attacks. The USA Patriot Act came along and expanded its scope, directly connecting the dots between financial crime and the fight against terrorism. So when you think about filing a SAR, it's not just about stopping some local fraud, it's literally a matter of national security. Okay, you've got the concepts down. You know what a CTR and an SAR are. Now let's get down to brass tacks. We're going to drill into these specific numbers you absolutely have to memorize for your exam. Think of this next part as your personal cheat sheet. First up, the CTR. What's the number? It's more than $10,000. Not 10,000 flat, but anything over that in cash in a single day. That little greater than symbol is so important to remember for the test. And now for the SAR. The trigger here is any suspicious transaction of $5,000 or more. So yeah, $5,000 exactly could trigger it if it seems fishy. The key word, again, is always suspicious. And here we go. This table puts it all together for you. Seriously, if you're going to take a screenshot, this is the one. This is pure gold for your exam. Let's walk through it. CTR threshold is over $10,000 cash. You've got 15 days to file it. SAR threshold is $5,000 or more and suspicious. You get 30 days to file that one. And for both of them, you got to keep those records for 5 years. I'm telling you, burn this table into your memory.
Okay, there's one little wrinkle with the SAR deadline you're probably going to see on the exam. The standard deadline is 30 days, right? But what if you know something shady happened, but you can't figure out who did it? Well, the rules give you a little breathing room. You can actually get an extension, taking up to 60 days in total if you need that extra time to identify the suspect.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground. The what, the why, the how. So let's bring it all home. What does this actually mean for you as a mortgage loan originator? How does this stuff apply to you on day one of your new career? You know, this quote from the regulations really nails it. It says, every financial institution has to have a compliance program to, and here's the key part, prevent and detect those who seek to misuse the U.S. financial system. As an MLO, you're not just some person processing paperwork. You are a critical part of that program. You are literally a gatekeeper. Okay, so if your brain is full and you can only remember a few things from this whole explainer, make it these 4 points. Ready? 1. Know the difference. CTR is for currency, SAR is for suspicion. 2. Know the thresholds. Over 10 grand for CTRs, 5 grand or more for SARs. 3. Remember the deadlines. 15 days for a CTR, 30 days for a SAR. And 4. Retain those records. All reports have to be kept for 5 years. You get those 4 things locked down and you are in great shape for the exam. Because really, that's what this all boils down to. Yeah, passing the NMLS exam is your first goal, but understanding these rules, that makes you a vital part of protecting the integrity of our entire financial system. You're not just an originator, you're the first line of defense. Now go get 'em. Good luck with your studies.